What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Real Deal Durham Podcast. And hey, you're in luck. It's our first ever episode. Super excited to break into the podcast space, share a little bit about what I got going on in real estate, and especially to help out the Durham region here. Now, this show is all about empowering everyone in Durham, all the community members of Durham, to make the best possible real estate decisions possible. It's not an investment podcast. It's not like a realtor podcast. It's a podcast for the community to make sure they're making the best decisions possible. Whether you're buying, you're selling, you're investing, I just want to make sure you're making the best decisions possible. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Isaiah Henry. I was born and raised in the Durham region. I was born and raised in Pickering. I'm out in Whitby, Oshawa area now. So I know this region like the back of my hand. It's not like some fly-by-night guy coming in not knowing what he was talking about. Born here, raised here. I know this like the back of my hand. And not only am I a realtor, but I'm also a six-figure real estate investor. I did all this before the age of 30 while working a full-time job. So yes, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm here to help you guys make the best decisions possible there. Like I said, I am a licensed realtor, six-figure real estate investor, speaker. I'm the author of The Rookie Real Estate Investor. I'm an investment specialist, and best of all, I'm here to help you. So let's get on this road together. It's going to be fun. Episode 1, who knows where this is going to go. So hopefully this ride is going to be really good as well. Oh yeah, before I go any farther, I got a lot of free resources. Because when I started, there wasn't that many resources out there. And I was like, well, where do I go for this information? So I put a couple of free resources together. I have a free rehab estimator. We have a mortgage calculator. We also have a free copy of this book if you want a copy there. What else do we have? We also have the Durham Neighborhood and Price Guide that comes out every month. That's super awesome. Make sure you download that. You can either send me a DM directly or check out the link in my Instagram or YouTube. You should be able to find that there as well. So like I said, it's the first episode, so be easy on your boy. If you got some comments, I love the feedback, but say it with your chest. If you got something to say, let me know. But again, any feedback, anything I can do better, anything you guys want to see more of, please let me know. Again, this podcast is here to serve you and the community members of Durham. So yeah, super excited to hear what you guys have to say. Now, like I said, it's not an investment podcast. It's not a realtor podcast. It's not an investment podcast. This podcast is for buyers, sellers, investors, and community members of the Durham region. I want to make this for the people, by the people kind of podcast. So hopefully you guys can help me out in doing that there. If there's anything you want to hear more about, if there's anything you want me to go into more detail on, whether it's mortgages, financing, looking for properties, what to be aware of as a seller, how to communicate with your realtor, I'm down for all of it. Just let me know in the comments below. Send me a DM. Be happy to get you out there. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today's quick tip is educate yourself. So whether you're a new real estate investor, whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, it's crucial to have a solid understanding of your real estate market. Whether you're investing here in Durham or you're doing some long distance investing, it's super important that you understand your real estate market. You want to understand the strategies you're using, the relevant laws and regulations, and continuously educate yourself to make sure you're up to date and you can make the best decisions possible. Now, my favorite way to educate is obviously podcasts. That's kind of why I'm on here, and that's kind of what sprung this whole thing. But if you're not into podcasts, that's fine. Books are also great, but a secret here is networking. If you can get in front of people who are doing the things you want to do, been the places you want to go, and are saying the things you want to say, I'm telling you, you're just going to learn by osmosis, and that's one of the big takeaways that I've got from my real estate career so far. So don't be afraid to get out there, head up some networking events, and go talk to some people doing what you want to do. Now, I'm not against coaches or mentors, and I think that's super important. But the thing is, I think you can do so much before you have to go down that coach or mentor state. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got coaches, I've got mentors, and I'm always working with people to make myself better. But I don't think that's where you have to start. Between books, podcasts, YouTube, resources, and other investors out there, you can get your first couple deals done or get yourself into your first property by yourself, and then maybe seek out a mentor or a coach to kind of help take you to that next level. Again, food for thought. If you guys have any comment or feedbacks on coaches and mentors, I'd love to hear what you have to say. You'll hit me in the comments below, send me a DM, slide in. I'd love to hear what you guys got to say there. All right, time for a little business update. So like I said, I'm a realtor as well as an investor. So just wanted to provide you guys a quick update of what I'm doing business-wise, see what's going on, see if you guys can take anything away, learn from it, or if you have some suggestions for me, I'd love to know that as well. So first thing, just came off a big refinance, which was awesome. In this market, we're July 2023. Rates are stupid high, but again, still was able to pull off a successful refinance. Shout out to my boy Ashton. He hooked the whole thing up for me. We got the appraisal done. Somehow he got it for free. I don't understand how he did that, but hey, I'm not mad there. So got the appraisal done. We still got a pretty favorable value even as in this market. We were able to pull out all our capital from a BRRRR project, and property still cash flow. So again, shout out to Ashton. If you guys need his contact information, I'll make sure I link it below in the video, or it'll be somewhere on my Instagram where you guys can find it over there. Now, what's going on with the actual portfolio? So this month has been the month of inspections. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I would do it again this same way. The reason being, I did all my property inspections at the exact same time. So obviously all these maintenance at the same time, all these maintenance issues came up, which wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't good. And I think I ended up like overextending and maybe going a little too far with all of it at once. Like we're doing, roof maintenance on one property. We got a hot water tank. We got a tap leak. We got all these little things that are manageable, but they all happened at the same time. So once it's actually stressful because you got to kind of manage and coordinate that with your team. But second, it's a big hit on your cash flow. Now I know you spread it out over the year, et cetera, et cetera. But the idea of this is you want to kind of moderate your cash flow. So I wouldn't say that's a mistake, but it's something I'm going to look into my portfolio as I continue to manage it. Maybe not do all the inspections at the same time and space them out over the year so that I'm able to, one, continue with a steady cash flow and, keep it at a stress level that actually makes sense there. And last thing, this is going to be on the financing tip. So filed my first ever corporate tax return. Shout out to my accountant there helping me out getting all that done. Now, regular taxes, I always leave that to the accountant, but this was the first year that my corporation actually had to file income taxes. A little bit scary, a little bit more involved than the typical taxes that you do for your personal income, but it shows that we're moving in the right direction. So that was super motivating for me to kind of get into that corporate space and be able to explore those options. Hopefully that opens up some avenues for commercial financing, corporate lending, and stuff like that. So again, super exciting. And that's a quick business update, what's going on with me. So in today's topic discussion, I'm going to go over how to communicate with your realtor. Now, as a realtor myself, this is kind of close to my heart because I feel the way that you communicate with your realtor is really going to, lay the foundation of how this deal is going to go. Whether you're a buyer and you're looking for a property, whether you're a seller, you're looking to get the most for your money, or whether you're an investor and you're actually looking to get into like a cash flowing, high performing property. The way you communicate with your realtor is really going to set the stage for how you go about getting into a property there. So it's going to be super important there. And I just wanted to kind of bring this up and give you guys a few tips on what I'm seeing and what I'm seeing from other members, other people in the industry as well. The first thing you want to do is set up your communication early and upfront. Now, what this means is when you meet a realtor, so let's say you DM me and we're like, hey, Isaiah, I'm down to work with you. I think this is going to be exciting. So before we get all willy-nilly, start searching for properties, putting your property up on MLS or running the numbers, it's super important to take a second and decide how you're going to communicate. Like there's so many ways to communicate now. You can text, email, WhatsApp, iMessage, these weird realtor portals. You can probably get ChatGPT to do something as well. So many different ways. And if you don't set your expectations or your realtor doesn't set those expectations, you can kind of lose momentum in your transaction. It's just not a way to do something effective. So what I would say as a client or a realtor, just take a second and, put it up front. For me, my main communication is Instagram. I love using Instagram. There's a lot of tools there where I can communicate, I can organize my conversations, and I can give my clients the best service possible. But hey, that might not work for every single realtor, or that might not work for you as a client. Maybe you're a texter, maybe you're an emailer, or maybe you're from like the 1940s and I need to write you a handwritten letter so that you can get it across. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Make sure that you set up your communication in a way that's gonna work for you and your realtor, and that you're able to actually go forward and actually transact on whatever you're trying to do. Now, the second thing here in terms of communication is your response time. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of impatient, and if anyone knows me in my personal life, I want things done like that. When I call, you better pick up and get that thing done. But in business, it doesn't always work like that. You gotta understand, realtors have other things to do, and clients aren't also at their phone 100% of the time. So I think establishing like a good response time that works for both your client and your realtor makes sense so that you guys can go forward positively and get to those end transactions that you're looking for. So for me, I always say I'm going to respond within 4 hours. That's a timeline that I can hold, and that if I have a client or I'm working with an investor or even another realtor, they know that I'm not blowing them off, I'm not being lazy, but my response time is 4 hours. So anything over 4 hours, yes, you can get mad, you can have an attitude. But if I'm within that 4 hour time frame, like, you just got to be patient and know that I'm working on your deal, or I'm working with that information to get you the best service possible. Now, I will put an asterisk there. If we're in the middle of a deal and we're negotiating, obviously it's not going to be 4 hours. We're going to get that done. But again, just setting those response times, setting those expectations so your client knows how you're going to respond, whether it's like, you're in an offer scenario or you're just looking at a couple properties on MLS. This is also going to, put everyone in a positive situation. If I know it's going to take you some time to respond, I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to be stressed. But if I have no idea when you're going to respond, 2 hours feels like, 2 days to me. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, is my realtor focused on me or is he doing other things else? But if you knew in the back of your head, like, oh, Isaiah takes 4 hours to respond to people, you'd be in a much better situation and, be much less stressed, and the transaction would go smoothly there. Now, another thing you want to do when you're communicating with a realtor or your client, vice versa, you want to be prepared. Now, time is money in the game of business, and it doesn't change for realtors. You don't want to be wasting their time asking questions that you already have the answers to, or just talking to talk. I'm not saying the relationship shouldn't be personable or amicable, but if you have questions, take a second and see if you can find the answer before. But if you need a professional opinion or some actual information that the realtor needs, boom, by all means, give them a call to try to help. But if you're trying to look for like, oh, what's the postal code for this address, or, how many stories does this property have? That's probably in the listing. And again, the realtor would have no problem for it. But again, it just slows down your communication. So I always say, whether you're a client or you're a realtor, try to be prepared for the conversations you're having. It makes things go a whole lot more smooth, and it shows your competence. So it shows that you're at a level that, people want to actually work with. And it's worked great for me, and I hope it works well for you and your clients as well. Now, before I just kind of wrap up this thing, I want to give you two examples. So let's say you have a millennial client over here, and you have, that guy who worked at GM his whole life in Oshawa over here. Now, this millennial client might be cool with Instagram. You can hit him in the DM. When they're done their message, you can like it, and that's okay. But you need to understand that that's the communication style that they're okay with. And once you understand that, you set your boundaries and you set your expectations up front, that works for them. So that's kind of more of a new age, more technologically advanced kind of client. Now, if you're working with an older client, not a worse client, just an older client, they might not be so technologically inclined. They may not be on Instagram, may not be on Facebook. They might be literally pick up the phone if you want to talk to me. So if that's the case, you want to make sure you set those expectations with that client so that you can understand, like, hey, I'm going to call you between these hours and these hours, so that 1, they're available, 2, they're prepared, and 3, you're not wasting time playing phone tag there. So whatever your client is, whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, or a realtor in this situation, make sure you understand how to communicate well with your realtor or your client to make sure you get the best out of your transaction possible. Okay guys, in this next section, it's called the In the Community section. And honestly, this is what I'm super excited for. This is what I've been waiting for the whole podcast. Now, this is episode 1, so I kind of want to lay the groundwork for what this section is going to be about. So I'm a big community-focused realtor. I had a career in law enforcement, and the big thing around it was community policing. And I really like the concept, people in the community serving the community, and they know the community best. So what I wanted to do is extend that same ideology to the real estate business. So instead of knocking on doors, bothering everyone, I wanted to bring the community into the real estate business. Not just to get leads, not just to do business, but I feel there's so much going on in the community of Durham that we can start serving ourselves, and before you know it, we're actually growing together. So I'm super excited about this In the Community section. So the plan here for the In the Community section is to highlight local businesses, entrepreneurs, and other stores, shops, products, and everything that's local to Durham region. I think there is a disservice being done by the real estate industry that focuses so much on the real estate and not the community around that actually lives, works, and actually buys the real estate. So again, super excited about this In the Community section. We'll be highlighting different businesses, entrepreneurs, products, stores, shops. So if you have someone in mind, or you have a business or store yourself and you'd love to be featured on the Real Deal Durham podcast, please send me a DM, send me an email, give me a call, give me a text. Doesn't matter. I'd love to kind of bring you on it and see if we can share it with our audience here. So again, watch out for the In the Community tab, watch out for the In the Community section. It's going to be a great section and you guys are going to love it. All right, guys, in the next section here, I'm going to be answering a question that I've gotten a DM. This could have been a question that someone just sent to me directly in a DM. It could be a question that I got from one of my mentor clients, or it could be a question that I just saw floating around and I kind of wanted to address it in an open forum here on the podcast. So let me read the question out to you. So this came, who did this come from? Okay, yeah, this came from someone who owns a property in the Durham region. So it says, I've been left with a mess after a bad tenant left. The entire house smells like urine, and we've tried several ways to get rid of that. We've tried several ways to rid the house of that cat smell. We've tried vinegar, Obidon, and just plain baking soda, and it smells like an outhouse. It's disgusting. Any good suggestions would be welcomed. Okay, so obviously not a fun situation. Tenant turnover is never fun. So let me give you two perspectives on this question. One, I'm going to give you a little perspective on what I would do like right now in the moment. And then two, I'm going to give you some preemptive measures that I might have put in place before or that you might put in place now to kind of avoid a situation like this. So the first thing I would do, listen, you're in for a renovation. It is what it is. I wish I could sugarcoat it. I wish it could be better, but you're going to be in for a little bit of a renovation here. So first thing, rip up those floors. If it's carpet, rip it up. If it's old laminate, rip it up. And even if it's vinyl plank, it's probably at a state where it's seeped into it. I think your best bet would be rip it up. You can maybe save some money when you're redoing the floors if you put laminate in the bedrooms and to vinyl plank in like the kitchen, basement, in the areas that might get water. Save a little bit of money. But again, if it's a rental property, I'm a big fan of LVP. That's luxury vinyl plank. Put it all down, a little bit more money up front, but again, it will save you in the long run. Also, probably got to get rid of your drywall here, at least the bottom quarter of the drywall. You know, if cats are spraying and peeing all over the place, it's probably going to seep into the drywall and a fresh coat of paint might not cut it. So get ready to get into the drywall. Fresh coat of paint's going to come, and yes, you're going to be in for a renovation here. But this is actually what I would do. So before you get to this situation, like I feel like if we're asking this question, we've asked the question too late. So what I would do is kind of rewind. I want to rewind and focus on some of the preventative measures that I would have done. So the first thing, tenant screening. I would have screened those tenants. Now, I understand you can't screen out for pets, but again, there's some questions that you can ask to understand, one, if the tenant is a pet owner, and two, how they care for their pets. So questions like, how many pets do you have? Or what type of dog do you have? Again, we're not screening against these questions, but you can ask questions that open up a line of communication that you can make a decision if this tenant fits your property profile. If you need more questions like that, please send me a DM or leave something in the comments. I'd be happy to give you some more tenant screening questions there. Another thing that you want to do, when I tenant screen, I always do a previous property visit. So let's say I have a tenant coming in. They're coming into one of our new properties. I would say once like the screening's all done and they're ready to go, I like to actually sign the lease at the house that they're living. One, you can see how they live. Two, if there's any issues there, you can kind of point it out and bring those up in conversation. And three, you get an idea of the kind of tenant you're going to be. Anyone can come to a property with a nice suit, nice tie, freshly cut beard, shout out to my barber, and make sure that they look nice. But when you catch them in their actual residence, you get a different look at how they live, and you can make a real honest decision if this tenant is going to be the one that you want to put in your property. Second thing I want to do is property inspections. I know I talked about it a little bit earlier in my business update, but property inspections are so important. And I've learned in my short investing career that property inspections are more important than they might seem. I like to do 3 property inspections a year, and if there's any tenant issues, I automatically update it to 4. The reason why I do this, I want to keep eyes on my property. It's not that I want to invade the tenant space or I don't trust them, but I want to make sure the property that I've invested in keeps that condition as long as possible. Yes, there's going to be wear and tear. Yes, there's going to be, tenant damage. There might be a couple holes in the walls, couple paint scrapes. But again, that's all minor and cosmetic. But if you come in and you see 11 cats running around and they're peeing all over the place, that's a huge red flag and might be something you want to bring up with the landlord tenant board. But if you're not doing these property inspections until like way later, you're going to miss it out. And like 2 years later, when they go to evict, you're going to have a situation like this where all the floors are done, the drywall's done, and you almost have to gut the property simply because you didn't do property inspections. Now, I'm not saying they didn't do them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's important to make sure that you have routine property inspections to keep an eye on your property. And if there are issues like this, address it on the front end. Now, the last thing I want to do is I want to highlight SingleKey. So SingleKey is a partner that I work with, and honestly, I love them. I'm not even trying to big them up. Like, these guys are great. I've tried all their products. I use all their products across my portfolio, so definitely check them out. I'll have a link for them below. But with SingleKey, if you implement their rent guarantee program, not only are you guaranteeing your rents, which is, in my opinion, the biggest risk to landlords in Ontario, but it also comes with property damage coverage. You can get up to $10,000 for property damage coverage. What that means is, if you have this situation and the property is damaged, SingleKey can actually help you reimburse you for those damages so that you can get your property back up to market so you can rent it out and continue making money as an investor there. So definitely check out SingleKey. They would be a huge help in this situation, not only to make sure that you're getting the best tenant in there, tenant screening wise, but also to protect you against any damage like this here. So again, great question. Just to recap, a couple things I would do: preventative measures, tenant screening, property inspections, and go check out SingleKey. They'll help you out there. Well, guys, that's it for me. Thank you for sitting through the first ever episode of the Real Deal Durham podcast. I'm super excited. Honestly, I got like goosebumps. This is awesome getting it out here. So I'm hoping for the next, 100, 250 episodes to be just as hot, just as fire. And again, if you guys have any feedback, please let me know. If you're listening to this on Spotify, 5 stars is preferable. But if you have something to say it with your chest. If you're on YouTube, get into those comments. I want to hear what you guys are saying. Hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. There should be buttons all over the place to go crazy. And again, share this with your friends. Like, I'd love this to be like a platform in Durham region where we can all connect as a community. So yeah, if you're in the Durham region, definitely connect. And if you're not in the Durham region, I thank you for stopping by and listening as well. A couple freebies I also wanted to highlight. Don't forget to get your copy of The Rookie Real Estate Investor free ebook, or if you want it in, who is this on the back? Look at this guy. If you want to get a print copy, I can get you that as well. But we do have the free ebook online as well. We have the free mortgage calculator. We have the rehab estimator. We have the Durham price guide and so much more. So guys, I hope this serves you well in the Durham region community. Again, any questions, concerns for me, please give me a shout there. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Durham region, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you out as a realtor and get you into the best property that's going to work for you, whether you're a buyer, seller, or an investor. Thanks so much, guys. It's Isaiah Henry with the Real Deal Durham Podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Later.